Hello, Space Cadets. This is Commander Ryan speaking, and I'm here to tell you about pins. And we're going to look at the basics of pins, and then in a separate video, we're going to look at advanced ideas with how to stop pins. So a pin in chess looks like this. Let's move these pieces real quick, and we'll get to a pin. There we go. Oh, whoops, I went too far. So right here, we have a pin. This bishop will take the queen if the knight moves away. So the knight is pinned. It has to stay right there. Otherwise, you lose your queen. So this pin, however, is not a good pin. The reason it's not a good pin is because there are a lot of ways to get out of this pin. So in chess, whenever you're pinned, or you have a pinned piece like this, you want to find a way to safely get out of the pin. So we're going to look at some ways, but let's look at what a bad pin looks like. So right here, this pin is not a good one. It's done too soon. So here, let's look at what if we try to attack it? Well, the problem is they could just take us and we go here, and white is doing pretty well here. That pin did not really do anything. However, here's another reason the pin is bad. What if we moved here with black or with white's knight? We move to e5 instead of playing this h3 pawn up. They can take our queen, and then we play checkmate. You see, this knight guards the bishop, and it guards the spot where the king could try to escape. You see? And then all of these pieces are in black's way. So this is actually checkmate. So black's pin did result in winning our queen, but we checkmated them, so we win the game. So that's pretty good. So those are a couple reasons why that pin is bad. Let's look at good pins. Here's a good pin. So good pins will be difficult for your opponent to get out of. So here we go. We're looking for our pin. We haven't had a pin yet, so we're just moving around until we get to the pin part. And we're almost there. Okay, here's the pin. This is a really, really good pin. So the idea is this knight cannot move, because if it did, the white king would be in check. So you're not allowed to do that. Therefore, this knight is stuck. And all we have to do to attack this, or to win this knight for free, is move our pawn down to take the knight, because it can't run away. However, if we move our pawn down, their pawn can take, we'll take back, and then their knight will take, and we'll actually lose a pawn. So we have to deal with these two pieces attacking the e5 square before we can go here. So let's see how this game goes. White actually retreats their knight so that they can allow the pin to be on e3 instead of d4. You'll see what I mean in a couple of moves. So we do the e5 move, and we do that, and now this knight runs away. But you can see we have a new pin now on e3. So the white knight was able to escape the pin that was on d4 because the knight moved over to here on f3. But now we have this pin instead. And this pin is going to be even more difficult to get out of. So here we go. A cool queen sacrifice causes a big problem for white. So white pretty much has to take the queen, or they're just losing. You'll notice that they lost a rook in that sacrifice. So the queen takes, they take the queen, and then the rook takes here, and this pin, or this knight, is double pinned. It's pinned this way with the rook, because if the knight were to say move away, like to there, then black would take white's queen. So that would not be good. However, the knight can't move anyway because it's also pinned in this direction against the king. So this is a double pin, and that's a very important idea. So in this situation, black wins the game because white quit, because they're going to lose another piece. And look how dangerous it is for white's king. All of these, here, I'll use a different color. All of these pieces for black are ready to attack the king. Oh, we have another one too. This rook up here is ready to as well. So white will not have any chance to stop a checkmate. And this was all because of that really good pin. Now let's look at a pin that doesn't matter. We call it a neutral pin. So a neutral pin just means, the piece is pinned, but it doesn't really matter. So let's see what that might look like. Right here. So this pin is really, it's too early in the game to pin. So this isn't really a great pin, but there's nothing horrible about black's pin either. So we go here, we have to run away, and you'll notice that that pin is not really doing anything. So our queen moved away, and we took back like this, and so there's no more pin now that the bishop and knight are gone. However, even though there's like this big hole in white's king's position, black's pieces are all kind of stuck behind up here. There's like no way for them to take advantage of this weakened king. So anyway, that pin didn't really do a whole lot. It didn't lead white to having a big attack. Or I'm sorry, it didn't lead black to having a big attack or anything like that. So now let's look at a validated pin. A validated pin is a bad pin or a neutral pin that becomes a good pin because your opponent keeps making mistakes or you keep making mistakes. So let's look at what I mean by that. So right here, this pin is a neutral pin. It's not really that useful. This knight is pinned, so it shouldn't move. So there is a pin, but there's not a lot going on here. There's no way to attack this knight to win it or anything like that. So black is now going to proceed to make several bad moves, which will make this pin very good. Remember, a good pin is a pin that's difficult to get out of. So right now, this pin is very easy to get out of. You could move your bishop here. You could attack the bishop to make him maybe run away. You have some options, but watch what happens. Whoops. So we go here, and then they take, and then we take. And so you notice since they traded off their bishop, they can't put their bishop right here to stop this from being a pin. So therefore, the last hope would have been to play h6, but instead they played h5. So now, because the dark square bishop traded off on c3 and the h-pawn moved to h5, this pin is very difficult to get out of now. So let's continue to see how this works. So you'll notice that, you'll notice that this pawn moved forward so that it could try to go forward again to attack the knight. Therefore, black moves here to try to stop that. And there's an important moment. If white decides to do this anyway, as soon as that queen is traded down here, you'll notice there's no more pin anymore because there's no queen on d8. So black is checking the white king, so basically white has to capture the queen, and then black saves their knight by running away, so the pawn can't get them because there's no queen back there anymore. So we can't just trade or we can't just play e5 anyway. So bishop d3 is really cool because now you can't trade queens after e5, which means the knight will get captured. So the queen steps out of the pin. Stepping out of the pin basically means you're just going to allow them to take and mess up their pawns because they're going to take back like this. So stepping out of the pin is always not so good, but in this current situation, you'll notice that it forced the queen in front of the bishop. So this pin was a very good pin because it forced black to do some weird stuff that wasn't helpful, like moving their queen to d7. Okay, now there are two types of pins that we need to learn about. The first type of pin is called an absolute pin. You can remember that by saying that there is absolutely a pin there no matter what, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is an absolute pin. An absolute pin is any pin where there is a pinned piece, in this case the knight, and a target piece. And anytime the target piece is a king, it is an absolute pin. Because if this knight wants to move, they would be in check. So they absolutely cannot move this knight, or they would be breaking a rule. That's what an absolute pin is. Now we're going to look at a relative pin. So a relative pin is when the target piece, in this case that will be the rook, is not the king. So for example, we have the same pin as before. You'll notice up here we have this pin like this, and then down here we're doing the same thing like this. So you can compare the two positions. You see they're very, very similar, but the difference with this position is there's a rook over here and not the king. So technically this knight could still move, and it does. Look, oh no, the knight moved and you lose the rook. So a relative pin means you can still move the pinned piece if you want to, but generally that's a bad idea. So I'm going to film another video after I take a break that will teach you how you know if a pin will be good or bad. So have a good day, Space Cadets. I'm going to go take a lunch break now, and I'll be back in a little while with another video.